Now stop. It's hammer time. Hello Internet, my name is Damian Michaels, but you can call me Blue, and welcome back to another episode of Blues Brews. This week, we're playing Boros Hammer Time. Now technically, this deck isn't a brew, since it's been around for a few years now in various formats, but I haven't played against it in the ladder in a long time, and I didn't see it on any metagame pages, so I'm considering this build a brew because I put my own touches on it. So just to explain the deck for anyone who doesn't know what Hammer Time is, the goal is to play Colossus Hammer and attach it to a creature, then win the game with it. Seems pretty simple, but we only have 4 hammers, and that equip cost is a massive 8 mana, so we have to consistently find our hammer and attach it to a creature without paying that equip cost. Finding the hammer is the easy part. We have 4 hammers itself, plus 4 copies of Fighter Class, and 3 copies of Stoneforge Mystic to go fetch for hammer or any of our other equipment, for a total of 11 cards that either are a hammer or can become a hammer. Attaching the hammer is a bit more difficult. So how exactly do we do that? That's what we're going to answer today. So grab your parachute pants and put on your favorite MC Hammer cassette because it's hammer time. Game 1, we're on the draw and we keep at 7. Opponent starts by playing a mountain into a Strike It Rich to make a treasure before passing. We untap and draw Sigarda's Aid, which we then immediately play with our land drop. Opponent untaps, drops a mountain, and plays Cleansing Wildfire on our Inspiring Vantage. We grab a Plains and opponent passes. We untap and draw a Fighter Class, then play Stoneforge Mystic to go grab our namesake card, Colossus Hammer. Opponent untaps, plays another mountain, and stomps our Stoneforge before passing it back. We untap and draw Stone Coil Serpent. We don't have a land, so we play Serpent on 1 and play the hammer now to give our opponent as little window as possible to blow us out with removal. Hammer equips and we pass the turn. Opponent untaps, plays a mountain, and casts Rabble Rousing on our Sacred Foundry. We only have 1 land now, so we need to end this game quickly before we can't play the game anymore. We untap, and would you look at that? A second hammer makes this Stone Coil a 21/21 with Trample. We said we needed to win the game, and RNGesus blessed us with his presence. This was such a great showcase for Sigarda's Aid to show off its power because we wouldn't have won this game without it. None of our other options would have been able to win us this game that turn, and if our opponent untapped, they likely would have blown up our last land and we do nothing for the rest of the game. Sigarda's Aid being able to immediately equip that second hammer was a lifesaver. But that's just one way. How else can we get someone to wield the mighty hammer? We're on the play and we mulligan once, keeping it 6. We put Esper Sentinel to the bottom. We play Inspiring Vantage into Kemba's Outfitters. It triggers, giving our hammer in hand equip 1 for the rest of the game. Opponent draws for turn, plays a land, and passes. We untap, play Colossus Hammer, equip to the Outfitter, and attack for 12. Weird, they still had 8 life left. They exploded anyway. Must be a bug or something. Okay, I get it. Alchemy cards aren't everyone's cup of tea, but we're in Historic, so they're legal, and it's how this deck works, so hush. That being said, after the game we just saw, I don't think I need to explain why it's so powerful. The important thing is it's a creature, so it can swing the hammer itself, unlike Sigarda's Aid, so it's a 2-card combo instead of needing an additional creature. And it perpetually gives the hammer equip 1, so it has the ability for the rest of the game, regardless of what happens to Outfitter. So we've seen Sigarda's Aid and Kemba's Outfitter, what else we got? Game 3, we're on the draw and we keep at 7. Opponent plays a land and passes the turn. We draw Fighter Class for the turn, play Pathway on white, and drop Sigarda's Aid. Opponent untaps, plays a Plains, foretells a card, and passes. We untap and draw a hammer naturally. We play Sacred Foundry to drop Stoneforge Mystic, but since we drew the hammer, we can grab a utility equipment. We grab Shadow Spear and pass the turn. Opponent untaps, plays a land for the turn, and plays Dovin, Hand of Control. Opponent takes it down on our Stoneforge Mystic and passes. Dovin unfortunately makes a good chunk of our spells cost more mana, so we just play a Battlefield Forge and innocently pass the turn. Opponent untaps and plays a Jace, the Perfected Mind, with Phyrexian Magic. Jace resolves and they take it down to make us mill 3 cards and they draw a card. They tick down Dovin again, targeting Stoneforge. At the end step, we flash in Lion Sash, since it's an equipment for Sigarda's aid, but also a creature to attack with. We untap, play another pathway on white, and cast Fighter Class. Class lets us grab another equipment, so this time we grab Swiftfoot Boots. We attack down Jace with the Lion Sash and pass it back. Opponent plays a Shipwreck Marsh into an Ickermoon Gauntlet. They use it to zero Dovin and proliferate before passing the turn. At the end step, we play Shadow Spear and attach it to Stoneforge. We untap and draw a card, moving to combat immediately and attack everything to Dovin to get him off the board, activating Lion Sash along the way to finish the job.
Clearly, the shortcomings here were mine.
We drop the boots now to play around removal and attach it to Lion Sash before passing it to the opponent. Opponent untaps, plays a tap land, and casts the card they fourth held on turn 2, Doomscar. In response, we activate Lion Sash to eat Dovin from the graveyard. Everything resolves and opponent passes. We untap and cast Kemba, Caw, and Doring, which lets us equip something for free whenever it or another cat enters to whatever is entering. We attach Swiftfoot Boots for haste and hexproof, then play Hammer with Sigarda's aid and attack for 13. Opponent seems to have seen enough because they make a white mana, legend rule their Iganjo, then concede the game. Even if they had an answer, however, we had another Kemba to do it again the next turn. Sometimes games go long, and we're not always going to be swinging for 12 on turn 2. In cases like what we just saw, the opponent can have a little removal or some planeswalkers that make it difficult to execute our combo. Kemba helps with this by letting us attach an equipment that's already on the board to it, or whatever cat is entering, for free when it or another cat enters the battlefield. We saw in this game, it let us immediately equip the Swiftfoot Boots so we could attack in right away. We wouldn't have had enough mana to play Kemba and Hammer and equip Boots all in the same turn without Kemba shortcutting the Boots equip cost. This deck isn't bulletproof, however. While I did climb all the way from Bronze 1 up to Diamond 4 using almost exclusively this deck, it does have some bad matchups that I just didn't run into while recording. Hardcore Control is nearly impossible to beat if you're not on the play and don't have the turn 2 attack for 12, turn 3 you're dead hand. And even then, they could have removal to slow you down. If you can't win the game as quickly as possible, your best bet is to find Swiftfoot Boots and chill on it until you have a window to win the game in one turn, sort of how we did in the game against Esper. Other than that, this deck isn't built to grind, so good luck if you decide to stick it out. Like most combo decks, discard is not our friend either. While we have plenty of redundancy, if our hand gets ripped apart before we can do anything, we likely end up sitting there twirling our thumbs until we draw something useful. That being said, while recording for this video, I only lost twice on camera. Don't get me wrong, I've lost many times with this deck, so I don't want to skew your thinking it has a near perfect win rate. I just only got 2 losses while I was recording. The first game was against Blue-Black Mill, and they surgically extracted my hammer after I Stoneforged for one, so I salty scooped. And the second one was against a different build of Hammer Time that uses a warrior subtheme to take advantage of Resolute Strike, Fireblade Charger, and Cacophony Scamp. We both had our combo on turn 2, but they were on the play, so they comboed first, and we couldn't hold back to block because Charger deals damage when it dies, so there wasn't a realistic path out of it that didn't end up with us chump blocking into oblivion until they found Thud to kill us anyway. Anyway, that's all for today. If you want to check out this particular build for yourself, then the deck will be in the description below. While you're down there, go ahead and subscribe so you can become a member of the Blue Crew today. And don't forget to tap that like button too. It adds 1 mana to the YouTube algorithm and I'd greatly appreciate it. If you enjoy my content and want to see more, check out this video from last week where we go mad discarding cards, or you can click on this playlist to watch some of my shorts.